Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. Now, in today's lecture, we are focusing on binomial expansion of P1 and let's solve some past paper questions. It's a topical past paper review. Now, when we look at this chapter from the perspective of the syllabus, so let's highlight. It says use the expansion of a plus b raised to power of n where n is a positive integer. So in P1, the binomial that we solve, the binomial expansion that is related to positive integer only, including the notation NR. So now this thing written over here, this is basically NCR. N factorial, we are all aware of it, and we'll focus a little bit more later on. So now the first part, that is about binomial expansion. And we are talking about some individual expansion of the form 1 plus b raised to power of n, a plus b raised to power of n, the particular term formulas. And that is basically what we are interested. So even before that, let me write down the formulas. First of all, 1 plus b raised to power of n. That is NC0, b raised to power of 0, NC1, b raised to power of 1, NC2, b raised to power of 2, all the way till NCn, b raised to power of n. So this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, and this is Tn plus 1. The number of terms is always one more. What else is there? If I want to write the particular term formula for this kind of expansion, the particular term formula, that is NCR, b raised to power of r. They can ask the term from the perspective of position, or they can ask it from the perspective of power. And I'll elaborate more when I'm solving the questions. Similarly, a plus b raised to power of n, that is NC0, b raised to power of 0. I'll fill in the a little bit later. NC1, b raised to power of 1, NC2, b raised to power of 2, NC3, b raised to power of 3, all the way till NCn, b raised to power of n. Now, what about this a over here? A raised to power of n, a raised to power of n minus 1, a raised to power of n minus 2, a raised to power of n minus 3. And let me just write this in properly over here, a little bit bigger. And then we are writing a raised to power of 0. Focus on the powers. The powers n and 0 adds up to n. N minus 1 plus 1 adds up to n. N minus 2 plus 2 adds up to n. N minus 3 plus 3 adds up to n. 0 and n adds up to n. That is a rule. Again, the particular term formula over here. So no, not this, the other marker. That is the particular term formula. That is NCR, b raised to power of r, a raised to power of n minus r. And again, they can be asking with respect to the position, with respect to the power. Now let's look at the first question. And let me just check one thing. The voice is all good and the recording is on. So now it says, find the coefficients of x4 and x5 in this expansion. So over here, the expansion of this is like this. That is this one. And that's the particular term formula. They are asking the coefficients from the perspective of power. So we need term in x power 4. We need term in x power 5. and the expansion is that of 1 minus 2x raised to power of 5. So I'll write 5c something and then negative 2x raised to power of something. Over here, 5c something, negative 2x raised to power of something. Why? Because this is of the format 1 plus b raised to power of n. So we know that n is 5 and b is negative 2x, and I'm using the formula NCR, b raised to power of r. Got the idea? So now when this is the scenario, if I need a power of 4, excuse me, if I need a power of 4 over here, that means I need a 4 over here. If I need a power of 5 over here, I need a power of 5 over here. So we know that 5c4 is 5. Negative 2 raised to power of 4, that is positive 16, x power 4. This is 80, x power 4. 5c5 is 1. Negative 2 raised to power of 5 is negative 32x raised to power of 5. So this is negative 32 x raised to power of 5. When we talk about the coefficient, 80 is the coefficient of x power 4 and negative 32 is the coefficient of x power 5. They are asking find the coefficient of x4, find the coefficient of x5. So now the first part is done and dusted for 2 marks. It is given that when we multiply 1 plus px with this thing, there is no term in x5. We can also say that the coefficient of x5 is 0. That is the meaning of no term in x5. So let me write over here. This is 1 plus px. And we need relevant terms over here in order to get an overall term in x5. Now, if I choose this term, that is 80x power 4, and I choose this negative 32x5, does it make sense? Because this one will multiply with negative 32x power 5, that will give me x power 5. Similarly, I can choose px. I can multiply with 80x4. That will also give me x power 5. So I will write over here coefficient of x power 5. That is 1 into negative 32. And the other one is p into 80. I'm multiplying 1 into negative 32. I'm multiplying p with 80. I'm just taking the coefficients. The number attached to the variable, that's the coefficient. And equated to what? Equated to 0 because there is no term in x5. It will all cancel out. Negative 32 is negative 80p. Negative, negative cancel out. 32 over 80 is equals to p. 4 or 8. 8 fours are 32. 8 tens are 80. That comes out to be p. So p can be reduced. That comes out to be 2/5. So we have 2/5, we have 80, we have negative 32. 80x4, negative 32x5. The value of p is 2/5 or 32 over 80 or 4 over 10. So all these are acceptable. So now that is question number 1 of binomial. I hope you have understood it thoroughly. Very, very basic idea. Now, another question. Similarly, in the same pattern, the coefficient of x cube in the expansion of these two brackets added together is 100. Find the value of constant a. In other words, if I have 1 minus 3x raised to power of 6, and I have 1 plus ax raised to power of 5, I need coefficient of x cube in both. That is NCR b raised to power of r. This is 6c something, negative 3x raised to power of something. What is that something? That something is 3. Why? Because I need an overall coefficient of 3. So 1 into 3 is 3. Similarly, over here, n is 5. That is 5c3. And this is ax raised to power of 3. Over here, this is 3. This is 3. Again, it will balance out. Over here, it's 1. Over here, it's 1. Excuse for the hiccups. That is over here. This is 1 into 3 is 3. 1 into 3 is 3. Now 6c3, just double check on your calculator. I think it's 20. And this is negative 27. And this is x cube. 5c3 is 10. This is a cube, x cube. The coefficient of x cube is 100. So now what's the coefficient? 20 into negative 27. That's the coefficient. 10 into a cube. That's the coefficient. So coefficient of x cube, that is negative 540 plus 10 a cube is equals to 100. 10 a cube is equals to 640. A cube is 64. A is cube root of 64. That comes out to be 4. That is the value of A. All good, all clear. So 2 questions are done. Now, I would like you to try out this particular question. Let me pause the recording. Achha. So now in this question, it says part 1, find the first 3 terms in the expansion of 1 minus 2x raised to power of 5. So the first term, 5c0, negative 2x raised to power of 0. 5c1, negative 2x raised to power of 1. 5c2, negative 2x raised to power of 2, and so on. The first term, this one over here, when this expansion starts with 1, the first term always becomes 1. 5c1 is 5, negative 2x power 1 is negative 2x. 5c2 is 10, negative 2x whole square is 4x square, and so on. This is 1 minus 10x plus 40x square, and write a plus sign and 3 dots to signify that yes, there are more terms, but we are just dealing with the first 3. Given that the coefficient of x square, I'm reading the next statement. So the first statement is this. The next statement is over here. Given that the coefficient of x square in the expansion of this bracket multiplying with this, which is right over here, is 12, find the value of the constant a. So 1 plus ax plus 2x square. So let me write over here. 1 plus ax plus 2x square. And it's multiplying with this. And the first 3 terms are this So this is 1 minus 10x plus 40x square. The coefficient of x square is 12. So we are interested in coefficient of x square. So let me choose 1, multiply it with 40x square. Let me choose ax, multiply it with negative 10x. Let me choose 2x square, multiply it with this one. So multiply it selectively. So I'll write 1 into 40, a into negative 10, 2 into 1, and this overall is how much? This is 12. So therefore 40 minus 10a plus 2 equals to 12. 40 plus 2 is 42. 12 minus 42 is negative 30. Negative 10a. Therefore, a comes out to be positive 3. These are the first three terms. The value of a is positive 3. That is the basic idea of this particular question. Now, over here, let me solve this one. The coefficient of x square in the expansion is this much. Find the value of constant a. Now, over here, we have a constant. We have an x term. In other words, from here, we need an x term. We need an x square term. Do you understand why? Because this constant will multiply with x square, and that will give me x square. This x will multiply with this x, and you will get x. So now this is what you have to do. This is the out-of-box thinking that you need to do. So let me write over here 1 plus x over 2 raised to power of 6. I need the coefficient of x. Coefficient of x power 1. I need coefficient of x. So let me just pick this up. Let me write it over here. This would be 6c1 and half x raised to power of 1. This is 6c2. This is half x raised to power of 2. 6c1 is 6. Half x is half x. This simplifies to 3x. 6c2 is 15. Half x square is 1/4 x square. It's 15 over 4x square. And it's all in one shot. You have to do everything by yourself. So now 4 plus ax. So this is 4 plus ax. Let's multiply it with 3x and 15 over 4x square. And then I should multiply it selectively. So let me choose 4, multiply with 15 over 4x square. Let me choose ax, multiply with 3x. So therefore, this is 4 into 15 over 4. I'm focusing on coefficient of x square. 4 into 15 over 4, a into 3. Overall, this is equals to how much? Overall, this equals to 3. So 15 plus 3a equals to 3. 3a equals to negative 12. A comes out to be negative 4. Let's double check. A comes out to be negative 4. All good, all clear? Now, slightly different question. I would like you people to try it out first. Let me pause the recording. So now let's look at this question. It says the first part, expand in ascending powers of y as far as the term in y square. That means the first 3 terms. Only 1 mark. That's very less. So 1 plus y raised to power of 6, that is 6c0, y raised to power of 0, 6c1, y raised to power of 1, 6c2, y raised to power of 2, and so on. The first one is 1. The next one is 6y. 6c2, that is 15. This is 15y squared. Now it says in the expansion of 1 plus something raised to power of 6, the coefficient of x squared is 48. Find the value of the positive constant p. The first thing that you need to realize, 1 and 1 is the same thing. Y and this thing is y. Because the power over here is 6, the power over here is 6. So basically, what is happening is that the y is replaced by this thing, px minus 2x squared. So second part, replace px minus 2x squared with y. So there is y, there is y. That's it. So just write it down. 1 plus 6 px minus 2x squared. And this is 15 px minus 2x squared square. All good? The square is this one. Now, first of all, let me add a page. And let me just expand this much. Px minus 2x square square. Px minus 2x square square. Therefore, this is p square x square minus 2 into px into 2x square. And the last one is negative 2x square square. A minus b whole square. P square x square minus 2 into 2, 4 into p, that is 4px cube, and this is positive 4x power 4. So let me write over here. This is 15, and this thing is p square x square, and this is minus 4px cube, minus 4px cube, and this is 4x power 4. This is 4x power 4. This one is 6px minus 12x square, and this is 1. Now it's saying in the expansion of this, we are only interested in coefficient of x square is 48. What is the coefficient of x square? This is the coefficient of x square. 15 into p square is the coefficient of x square. So the orange one, this is coefficient of x square. So minus 12 and 15p square, this adds up to 48. There is no other x square term. 48 plus 12, 60. 15p square is 60. P square is 4. Therefore, p is negative 2. P is positive 2. Does it say values? Which one? Find the value of the constant, positive constant p. So therefore, you will accept p is equals to positive 2 because it says p is a positive constant. And then you will reject. You will write and then you will reject. Reject p is equals to negative 2. So therefore, the only answer over here is p is positive 2. Let's double check. P is positive 2. That is the answer. So this completes the first part of binomial expansion, in which we do questions in which we add, we multiply selectively, and then we equate with a coefficient and things like that. In the next part, which we will start tomorrow, that will be related to questions like these, in which the first term has an x, the second term has an x, and they are asking for some particular term. So there is a proper way of solving these questions rather than trial and error. That is what you learn at Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. Stay tuned for more content.